there.
And the cornmeal.
Right. What are you going to do with that?
Then I'll make it up next week. I have to ask Emma if she's got a skillet.
We've got to still. It can go in the oven. I keep saying that. I put it in the oven dozens of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're gonna, but the big stove doesn't work.
You're saying?
Use a little oven.
Okay. Do it around ends, whatever you want to do. Not complicated. You're in charge of the cornbread. Read the ingredients, see what it says, other than corn. Stone ground whole grain cornmeal. Bob's real red mill. It's awesome to get all excited.
She's probably asleep.
Yeah, that's true, she might be. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we've got cornmeal. Yeah, how? We got it way down south. Cost an arm and a leg. Cornmeal. Make a grown man cry. Well, the price did. That is, I don't know what is it, net weight? 600. It's just about a pound of cornmeal. Have a guess what it cost. Morning, Harvey. To video the rain, that would be a good idea. Or you're going to video the tears, Harvey. That may be the case. I could tell you a little story as you're driving to Toronto, Harvey, about the spider and the fly. How the spider lured the fat fly all the way to Canada with the promise of gold and sparkly things. Keep going on the road, mate, Harvey. I don't want you getting silly. Anyway, the spider gave the fly little tidbits, little grains of cornmeal. Yes. And then the spider told all his friends about how the little fly, well, isn't really normal. But I'm glad you're going to Toronto to film the rain. But you might be filming tears as well. I believe it'll be going cheap. I mean, if it's still on the back. I mean, I wouldn't put a generator loosely clamped on the back of an RV. That's just me. I'd put one inbuilt with a lock. But that's just me. It's going to be interesting, the video that comes out from the fly, the chubby fly, about the exposure of what the spider has said. Yeah, I think duct tape with a piece of maybe twine should be good security, RV. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. A lot of things unfolded in the last 24 hours, of which I'm sure there's going to be an attempt at damage control. But RV, I nicknamed the spider in Canada, you know, the chubby spider in Canada, I nicknamed him 3 months ago the Undertaker, for a very good reason, because he's the one that will bury the fly. Pretty obvious, really. Didn't need a rocket surgeon to work that out. There were plenty of clues to what was going to unfold. But my wife's here to explain about the cornmeal. Oh, you're going away now. She'll be back. She's waiting for Awesome to jump on board. Yes, you can just imagine in the war room, the fly and all these fly-like mates will be getting together to think, how do we get out of this? What do we do? And can you imagine, RV, now that the spider no longer supports the chubby fly, how many sugar ants, e-beggars, will be making their way along the trail, trying to find a little bit of the spider's honey pot? I think the lid's on the jar. I think it's screwed down tight now. All these sugar ants are going to be disappointed, which will be funny. Anyway, this is about cornmeal. Where are you, Awesome? We found cornmeal. It's about a pound of cornmeal, which cost about $9 for chicken feed. Your wife will make the cornbread. She'll do you proud. And if it doesn't turn out, we'll just say that we got broken into and everything was not stolen except the cornbread. Obviously it was an American that broke in and stole it. We'll work on that excuse. But I think my wife will make a good cornbread. I'm sure she will. Now that we found it. Coarse cornmeal. Yes, there's going to be definitely an attempt at damage control. But it's not going to work. The Undertaker has done his job. Tonight's episode has been brought to you by Bob's Red Mill Cornmeal. Yeah, mate. You probably won't need too many. But grab a couple just in case. Safe trip. I've got cornmeal on my mind. Hello, my name's Bob. That's right, from Red Mill. You need cornmeal. You just have to pay $9 a pound in Australia. That's right, $9 a pound. Bargain. It's basically the same stuff I saw about 30 years ago used for chicken feed. Lucky chickens. And it's still raining. Haven't had a lot of rain, by the way, but we've had rain. I'll take anything that it sends down. We had pizza for dinner tonight, something different. Still got some of that stew. I'll have that on tomorrow because it's yum. So maybe I haven't pressed the right button. Can't see anyone chatting. Let's see if I've done the. Oh yeah, it says live chat. Obviously no one's talking to me. That's okay. Just keep looking at Bob. Hi, I'm Bob from Red Mill. Get your cornmeal from me. $9 a pound in Australia. Cheap as half the price. I think there would be in that a pound, I'm guessing 2.5 cups. That's about all you get out of that. Right? That means we might get two bits of cornmeal. Actually on the back it says gluten-free cornbread makes 12 servings. Liquid ingredients, 2 large eggs, lightly beaten. At room temperature, 1 cup of milk at room temperature. Probably help if you lived in the bush and didn't have a fridge, I guess. Everything would be at room temperature then. Dry ingredients. Half a cup Bob's Red Mill tapioca flour. So we didn't get the tapioca flour, this is interesting. Half a cup of Bob's Red Mill potato starch. We didn't even get the potato starch. and then 1/4 cup of Bob's Red Mill sorghum flour. There's 3 things we didn't get. 1 cup of Bob's Red Mill cornmeal. We got the cornmeal without the other 3 flours. 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. 2 teaspoons baking powder. 1 teaspoon of gum. 1 teaspoon of salt. So the only thing we're missing is the 3 other flours: the tapioca, the potato starch, and the sorghum. Awesome. You didn't mention those 3 flours. What's going on? Bend her down, Louie. No wind yet, but it's coming. Yeah, so it says to get sorghum, potato starch, and tapioca flours to make the ideal cornbread. That's interesting. If I buy the other 3 flours, I guess it'll only cost another $9 a packet. Only costs $40 to make a slice of cornbread. Food for a king. Line that up. There's the cornmeal. I actually got it from a health food shop, believe it or not. Now it says gluten free. Now bear with me. Is there a version of cornmeal that isn't gluten free? Because I don't know. It's saying that this is gluten free. Maybe there is a version that isn't gluten free. Just love that sound of rain. I'm sure if the wife's making a coffee. I'll have a look. You making a coffee? Oh, she looks a bit grumpy. No, she says she's not grumpy. I think she's a bit grumpy. Here's the coffee. What?
Turn it around.
But you're the centre of attention.
What?
They want you. They won't speak to me. Just RV. Bandman came on and said he's off to Toronto with some backup Walmart bags.
There's no one there.
No one there? Okay. But we'd get Awesome so you could shove her. I read on the back, it said how to make cornbread,
Yeah, I know.
and it says tapioca flour. It says 2 other flours plus that.
Yeah, I read it. I
But
know.
that wasn't on Awesome's
No,
recipe, was it?
no.
I don't think it was.
No, it wasn't. I've got a recipe here.
There's a good 2.5 cups in there. It's not 3, I think. And you need a cup and a half, don't you?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, you're hidden behind the cornbread. There's the children of the corn. Look.
2 cups.
Nice cuppa, thank you. Hello? Hello? Come on, Awesome. We're waiting for you. Cornmeal. Yeah. Cold. I've got my mittens on tonight. It's probably about 8-9 degrees. That's cold.
I can't tell because our thing got wet and it's drying out. The other
Mm.
one, I had
Where
to
did
try.
we threw the other one, did you?
It just wouldn't
Died.
work. Everything inside was
Yeah.
all rusted.
Oh well. It's all the wind we've had too. And rain in different places that doesn't normally get wet. LT, this we actually got, I found it in a health food shop. It's 600 gram, which is £1.25 or something like that. $9.
We're in Australia, LT,
$9.
and it took us forever to find it here. That's a common thing in the US.
It's actually the place we would have found it. We would have found it in a feed stock because chickens get it. It's a supplement for many different animals.
I mean, this is whole grain. That's not actually what Awesome wrote, but it's
Oh, this is stone ground.
whole grain.
Well, because it's stone ground, it's just whole grain corn, so it's cornmeal definitely. It's the right texture for making cornbread, for sure.
Yes, our local supermarkets don't sell it.
Mm-mm.
You found that in the health food store.
Yeah, at health food store
You
price.
know where I didn't look? I could have looked at that place in our local shop.
Where?
Where you take your containers and buy.
Yeah, could have had it there, but they're probably even more expensive.
So how
But
much
this was the same price in the shop as it was online. I looked yesterday.
You said it was twice the
It was
price.
yeah, but they then charge you $9 postage.
Oh.
This is only because we bought it off the shelf. It was only $9. Would have been 18 something to get it posted for £1.50 of cornmeal, which is probably in reality 15 ears of corn. I think, maybe less. Well, we got it. So when Awesome comes on, if she's not too busy writing down quiz questions and organising bingo slips, we can show that we've got the ingredient to make cornbread. I've never made it before, and my wife has never made it before.
And we've never had it.
I think I've had it once. Someone made it years ago. But you never know. You could end up being an expert in making cornbread.
God, it's just a bit of fun. It's nothing big. Follow Awesome's recipe and it'll be fine.
Cornbread with hands. All right, I'm Mr. Cornbread. There you go. All right. Man.
Leave it there. So
Leave it there?
Awesome comes
Okay.
in, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it's easy to make. We've got a skillet. No, this is the only cornmeal, Tammy, that we could find in Perth, population of 3 million people. I know where I could get cornmeal that's used for animal feed, but I don't know if there's crap in it, so I didn't go there. This
Right.
came from a health food shop.
Awesome looked online and reckoned that Woolies said they have it. But I went into Woolies and they didn't have it.
No, look, cornbread doesn't get made in Australia generally. This would be used by home bakers for the base of Vienna rolls, dinner rolls, bread in general. You know, you sprinkle a bit on the pan before you put the dough on top. That's what it gets used for here. So it's supplementary. It's not part of many ingredients.
Did you actually read where that one came from? Where it was
No, I
made?
reckon they come from the US myself. Let's have a look. Yep, it says product of the US of A. Probably can't see that. Product of the USA.
See? That's why the health food store got it and why the supermarkets start to have it.
Yeah, well, it looks like good quality, I must admit, even though it cost a fortune. You pay for what you get, I guess. But I used to have an old grain grinder years ago, mainly for cracking wheat, you know, for chickens and animals. And it used to come out looking like this. But they were metal teeth thing, not, this says stone ground. Hello Megan, I bet you've made cornbread before. We found cornmeal, eventually. It's rarer than hen's teeth in Australia, not common. Just say good day to Bob. Hello Megan, my name's Bob from Red Mill. I make good cornbread. Mm-hmm. Yes, Awesome Hooker is challenging people to make her cornbread. I don't know what Mexican cornbread. Maybe it has
Corn.
Mexican cornbread. Yep.
Yes.
It might have chilies in it. I don't know. But I've got a good skillet that she can use. Might have to go to the daughter's house for a better oven. Did she give you the temperature to cook it at?
Yeah, it's all in the recipe.
I'm guessing about 180.
I can't remember.
Okay.
If them's got a skillet I could borrow, I'll just bring it here to do it.
We've got her skillet.
No, I meant a pan, not like
Okay.
a, you know what I mean, like a
Cast iron skillet, yeah.
cast iron.
I use that to cook my steak in. Can't beat cast iron. If you ever buy a barbecue, don't buy any of those aluminium crap things. Buy cast iron. Jalapeno, cheese, and cream style corn. Sounds good. I like my chilies. I have a pretty high tolerance of chili. I mean, I could drink a bottle of Tabasco. It's like fruity, but not hot for me. It's just a good additive, like put on a bit of eggs or something like that. It's good, but it's not hot at all. Well, for me, it's not hot.
Awesome has an actual cake skillet.
Yep, let's show you the picture of Awesome's cake
Just
skillet.
don't get the name of that in it.
You can get them. That's Awesome's cake skillet. That's what she cooks her cornbread in, which is just like a fry pan without a handle, but specifically for cornbread by the look of it.
Cast iron cake tin then, huh? Or whatever you want to call
Oh,
it.
it'd be just like the fry pan with no handle, just have two little lips on it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But you get those ones that you can cook, you know, when you cook your steak and you finish it off in the oven on a steak skillet. That's cast iron. I love cast iron. My cast iron crucial French big deep pot, as you would see if you watch any of my cooking videos, I use it all the time. That's got a little enamel finish in it, but it's cast iron. And you just need the smallest of flames to simmer for hours and hours. Yeah, I imagine, like most implements, if you're cooking something, it will give you the flavour of the pot. Cast iron just is magnificent. Like I say, I've never had a barbecue that isn't cast iron. Been around people's places where they have these fancy aluminium things and, you know, Teflon coated things, which all the crap comes off them anyway. Bugger that. Cast iron is the only way to cook in a barbecue. They cost a bit more, but they're worth it. You can even get, I think it's commercial, you get a cast iron, you know, you go into a mom and pop's burger stop and they'll have those flat trays of, could be electricity or gas. The old ones are made out of cast iron or stainless steel, but I do prefer the old cast iron ones, but I haven't been able to find one. I wanted to build one into our back kitchen. I was thinking of doing that with a cast iron, but can't find one.
Mum's pot would be perfect, but it's packed.
The what?
Mum's pot.
Oh no, that's good. You mean for the cornbread?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been perfect. We could find it. Well, I've got, my wife's mother gave me it'd be 9 inches.
Gave it to us for our wedding present.
Yeah, about 9 inches by about 3.5 inches high. Quite thin cast iron pot with a beautiful little lid that sits on top, all cast iron. It's 120 years old now. Well, actually, it could be 130 now.
Yeah,
Because your mum gave it to me, to us.
Our wedding, yeah.
Yeah, no, it'd be 130 years old. But I'm sure people have got old cast iron cookware as well. But we treasure that one. It's got a little tiny ding in the bottom. Does not affect it at all. And I always use that to braise steak, don't I? It comes out absolutely yum. Where are you, Awesome? Come on. We got the goods. We'll send this across the border in 2-pound bags. Yeah. They'll never search your van. Want to say hello to everyone?
I'm sitting here yawning, I'm tired.
Well, you wanted to come on and show them that you got the cornbread.
Do a little video. You don't have to now.
But it is cold and it's nice to hop into a bed. We've got reverse cycle in the bedroom, but it's nice to get into bed with a doona on a cold night, isn't it?
Yeah, read a book. Wheat free, gluten free. I wonder if that makes a difference. Yeah, it is. It's winter here. You can tell by the way I'm dressed. Well, I feel the cold easy, so
Oh, it is cold tonight.
it is.
That wind's starting to come in. Probably had an inch of rain, maybe, over the last 3 days.
What's that saying? And delightful for crunchy cornmeal pancakes.
Yeah, I imagine in a pancake, because you're not cooking it like you're cooking cornbread, it would hold its fibre more, and that would be the little crunch, I guess. Look, I mean, I can see I could coat fish in there, chicken in it.
Well, that's what people said they'd do. Anyway, that's the only one we could get, so it'll be fine.
And I know I could make tortillas out of that. Easily. I probably add a little bit of flour with it, or
Awesome
corn flour.
sent me another recipe too, actually.
Of?
I'm just going to check. Of the Amish friendship bread,
Right.
which is,
Is that where they churn butter?
I don't know, I'll have to read that recipe later because there's a lot involved in
What's
that
the
one.
heading say?
It's the friendship bread. It's
Okay.
the Amish friendship bread.
Righto. Someone's saying something to you.
It looks a lot like I've worked to make that. Hang on, I didn't quite get that. I have to go back.
We've got an Aussie version. We call it damper.
It took a lot of work to make that cornmeal gluten-free. Yeah, I suppose it did. Is that why it's so expensive?
Just over £1 for $9. This cornbread will have to turn out like gold. Hello, Laura. Cornmeal. Tonight's show is brought to you by Bob from Bread Mill. We made the best cornmeal in the world. And this pack is made from the US of A, which you
Yeah.
can't see because it's in very small writing. Cornmeal. Don't
Yep.
get confused from cornhole. This is cornmeal.
Back up, keeping this coming.
You
Back
can't,
on you.
you can't read the back. Oh, you want on me? Yeah. Cornmeal. Bob made this. See, Bob. There, Bob. But in the next couple of days, I think my wife will be an expert in making cornbread.
Yeah, I won't do it tomorrow. I'll do it.
I have a question.
Oh,
What do you eat with cornbread other than a coffee?
yeah. What do you have with cornbread?
I mean, for me, it would be part of a meal. Like if I made chili beef, I'd have cornbread with it. I'm guessing. What do Americans eat with their cornbread?
Or do you just eat it as a snack?
Hello, Laura. Pinto beans and cornbread. I'm sure there's a variety of things people. I can see it being turned into a sweet as well as a savoury.
Yeah, keeping it simple. Yep.
Yeah, on the back of it, it says to add all these other flours.
Yeah, but that's
We're
for
not
a
doing
different.
that.
That's a different recipe.
Pinto beans is the answer.
Okay. Chicken.
I put pinto beans in my beef stew. I love beans. I put 4 different types of beans in the stew. They occasionally make you fart a little bit more than normal, but protein and fibre. Yes, this comes from the US of A. I was saying 30 years ago I used to grind up my own feed from the chooks and pigs.
Fried cornbread. They
And
fry it as well.
this looks very similar to what I used to feed the animals, I'll be honest with you.
So what do you mean after you've cooked it, you then fry it?
No, I think she's talking about a version of using the batter. Maybe shallow fried, like a tortilla, maybe? Because I'm pretty sure you can make a tortilla out of this. Sliced or green onions. We eat tons of onions. I love onions and garlic. Yeah, so
Oh,
like,
yeah,
like
yeah,
a pancake,
yeah.
that's what I was figuring.
That's what it says on the back, actually.
Does it?
Yeah.
Laura,
told
you could make a tortilla out of it, of sorts, obviously. But that's what I imagine you could make with it as well. I generally make flour tortillas when I'm making things like enchiladas. I'll make them up and then
Actually, you were trying to find corn tortillas once. We
couldn't find them, could
them
we?
either.
No.
Probably in the health food store they would have had it.
Yeah, they don't have corn tortillas. We have all the tortillas you can imagine,
Except corn.
but no corn. Yeah, I mean, I can actually make a mixture of corn flour and say whole wheat flour. And you don't get a corn tortilla, but you get corn in there. Corn flour's far more processed than this stuff. Things like polenta, I mean, similar but not the same. Never been a big fan of polenta. You know,
Okay.
you cook it up and it gets a bit stiff like mashed potato. Soup, beans and cornbread. Do you make, either of you, because you both sound like cooks to me, do you make like a minestrone? It doesn't have to be the Italian version, but with all the beans that you use, do you make a minestrone type soup up? Just curious. I like making minestrone. It's a long process, but you end up with a yum soup. Yep, soup, beans and cornbread with fried potato. Can't beat fried potato, can you? I'll get the missus to make her German potato salad up so you can see how she does it. It's yum. Got onion, apple cider vinegar, red onion, a little bit of mayo.
The recipe, it is on your channel, on my channel.
I don't do recipes, so it'll be on your
Yes.
channel.
Uh,
I'll just go a pinch of this and a handful of that. There's so many good grains you can get to make soups up. And these days, most of the big grain companies make up soup packs of lentils, grain, pearl barley, you know, the mixture. Yeah, it takes a while to cook it, but man, it's magnificent to eat. I love soup on a cold night, one that you keep going back to the pot and have another cupful, top her up.
See, I don't like minestrone soup, but I like those beans.
Yeah,
I like full bean mix.
Yeah.
I like to make a full bean mix salad.
she used to buy the big vampire. Was your grandmother VMAC? I like getting a whole heap of different beans. You know, pinto, red kidney, butter beans, all the different beans. Put them in a bowl and then I'll cut up capsicum really fine, celery really fine,
Red onion.
red onion. I do like throwing in some of these dried shallots that actually soften very quickly in a mixture like that. But add a little bit of pineapple. And all of a sudden you've got a bean salad which is totally unique. Pineapple goes well with beans actually.
Yeah, I know.
It looks like Barb's not going to get to meet Awesome tonight. Barb's here. Awesome. Awesome, are you really a hooker? Talk to me. I'm an old guy, but I've got the grain.
What
You
time?
know what I mean?
What time is it here?
I don't know.
It is 9 o'clock, so it's 9 o'clock Saturday morning for Awesome. She might be out shopping or something.
She could be.
Is that right?
Don't know.
No, it's not. It's 9. Oh, God.
But it'll be interesting how that cornbread turns out. I'm sure you do a good job. Just that we've never had it before, so it's hard for us to compare. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get it cooked right, looks right, but no one over there can taste it because it's here. Now Aki would do a good cornbread. Now that she's got this fancy oven.
So, no, I'm just trying to think. If it is 9 o'clock Friday night, and it was 9 o'clock Saturday morning. So it's 9 o'clock Saturday night here.
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock in the morning there,
Yeah,
roughly. Could be an hour earlier because of daylight saving they have.
because of that night. It was 9 at night for her. It was 9 in the morning for us.
Oh, you don't want to send us any cornmeal. I'm going to give you a good reason, Tammy. We'd love it
Oh yeah,
But-
we would.
to get postage to Australia. I'll give you the reverse. If I posted you this, which is £1 and a bit, I would have to pay about 90 Australian dollars to get that posted to you in the US. And I'm not kidding you.
Yeah, postage is
That's what it would cost me to get to you.
expensive.
So it'll be just about the same, probably cost you about 70. So we got it. We can get cornmeal.
Now we know in the health food store.
And it's not like, I'll be brutally honest with you, it's not like we're going to have cornbread every week. But we're interested. We'll try any foods. But thank you for the offer. I do appreciate that. But the postage is just a nightmare. It would be quicker and easier to push the island a bit closer to America. You know what I mean? Very expensive postage. Just to send a letter was $7.
Well, what I sent Sid's, they classed that as I was lucky.
As a letter?
As a letter, because because I only sent samples of
Oh yeah,
Vegemite,
so the height, the thickness.
they were able to make it, because there's one or two other items in there.
So that was $9.
And then, yeah, no, it was actually
$9 for a letter, Laura, to the US.
So
you can imagine what that would cost.
but I mean,
And there's something else. Because that was the letter, we don't get hit with the tariff that the US charges for packages. Because on the receipt that I sent something about this big to a friend in Pennsylvania, I actually got, before I even paid for the postage, because it was a package, I had to pay $9 security fee. Otherwise, for someone to inspect it on US soil.
it was a bigger box we sent.
$9 just for them to go, yep, that's a bag of cornmeal. Then the postage. So it was closer to 100.
It was that parcel we sent to them, that box. I don't
It was
know.
a tiny little box. It
No,
was
I
a pound,
remember it was just like this.
but it was a pound and something is all it weighed.
And it was this big. It cost.
So yeah, so unless we sell container loads, where the quantity would reduce the individual price. But I imagine that even though they sold this to me for $9, it would have probably cost them about $7 to get it here. Yeah, I don't know if it's Trump. I do think it's. See what happens, and I always warned people a couple of years ago that a trade war would ensue with Trump coming in, and it may be a good thing on one level, but it is a bad thing on another level, because a trade war can lead to a real war. You just have to look at history. Tariffs, exchange of goods between countries that argue with each other. All of a sudden, the trade embargoes become wars. But I hope that's not the case. But there now, the US is now imposing extra tariffs on Australia, where they said they wouldn't do that. They're doing it. So we'll just trade less with the US. What countries do when they get this happen to them, they have established markets, of course. When one of them disappears, you just look elsewhere. So when the US wants to come back and get some of our stuff, we might say, actually, we've got nothing to sell you, because we've got really good customers in Southeast Asia who buy all our gear and don't put tariffs on us. But it's a reversal of what was going to happen about 10 years ago. This is expensive as well, okay? Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, LT. Obviously, you can get cornmeal that's not gluten-free.
Well, yeah, that's right, because I've seen it. But like I said, that's the only one we could get.
Your son wants to go into the military. Well, can I make one suggestion to you, Laura? Make it the Salvation Army.
So what would it be over there, LT?
I'm guessing this would be $4, maybe $5 in the US. Gluten-free, I'm guessing.
Like, we didn't pick it because it said gluten-free. You got it.
There was another type,
What was that?
but it wasn't as good. She said, no, this is the best that you can get. It wasn't much cheaper, the other one. It was a bit smaller too.
Oh, what'd the other one say?
Just cornmeal. But she said that's the one that people here make cornbread out of.
Oh.
She has a few American customers. Yeah, Laura, the only problem, and I've seen it, my whole family's been in military or uniform at any given time, is that it's always young men's blood for old men's anger. That's it. You can say everything else you like, but it's usually the anger of an old group of men sacrificing the young blood of young men. Every war's been the same.
I've been so tired.
I mean, the whole world, we've never been out of war. There's wars going on all the time. We're a pretty nasty species when you think about it. All we want to do is kill each other for one reason or another. Happens every day. I was reading an interesting statistic. Every day there's about 100,000 people on the planet die. And there's about 140 born. 1,000 that is. Yeah, I think I didn't have to worry about my sons going to war, but I would have put up a hell of a fight for them not to go. And I'm not frightened of anyone. I would fight to protect my country. Great believer in that. Every one of us would here. We'd all die in the cause of protecting our country. But do I want to, or do I want my children or their children to go to a country that we have no beef with to have a war? No. Not for old men's anger. I mean, for me, the Vietnam War was the worst war ever. It was a case of trying to save face from all the allies. Australia was involved, as well as the US. But it was a case of, how do we get out of this without looking like we lost? Do you know what I mean? How do we save face in defeat? And without doubt, the Allies lost the Vietnam War. No matter what you hear about peace treaties and all that, that's what happened. And you could say the same damn thing about the Middle East wars. Who won those? There is no prize. Lots of oil though. Lots of good trade taking place now. Ooh. Good Camelot was pretty bright.
That was, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't think Awesome's coming in tonight. It's a shame. Got a bag of cornmeal. I'm probably going to bring it out every video for the next 10 weeks until Awesome gets here. So when do you reckon you make that cornbread?
Next week sometime.
So you can have a week to think about it. It's not rushing into it.
Because
Well, there's some really weird statistics, Tammy, from the Vietnam War. Is the amount of NCOs and serving officers, lieutenants, if you like, in all armies, not just the American, but Australian as well, who got shot by their own infantrymen. I'm not lying. I think the count was somewhere around 3,000 lieutenants, NCOs, who gave orders to men who figured that they were going to die if they'd follow them. So they shot the leader of that particular platoon or group. And I'm not making that up. There were loads of statistics of that happening. I had friends that went to the Vietnam War. I used to take guys out on fishing trips, and they'd tell their stories where they used to go into villages and they didn't know who was Viet Cong, who was regular North Vietnamese army, who didn't know. They were just all Vietnamese. It says $5, says LT for that here. Yeah, I figured that'd be right. So this is 9. Take away the dollar value, this is probably about $6.50 US. That's not too bad.
oh yeah, the dollar difference. Didn't think of that.
Yeah. But most of the guys that I would speak to about Vietnam just said they had no idea who the enemy was. And yes, they were given orders to go out on sorties, and every time you were given point man duties, you'd shit yourself because you were the first one going down. Taylor and Charlie was the best spot. But they would just say they look forward to their R&R in Saigon, and then they get dropped back out wherever they were, again not knowing who the enemy was. And the reason why there were so many massacres, and that's what they were, is that you can imagine just, 30 troops walking through into a village and then you start getting shot at, you're going to shoot everything that moves. Unfortunately, most of them were civilians. Yeah, it's well, they call it friendly fire keeping, but some were deliberately shot. There's stories of lieutenants in particular who were given the task of entering certain villages in Vietnam who just massacred hundreds of civilians because they didn't know they were civilians. But you certainly know what a child looks like, or a baby, but they got massacred as well. You can just imagine a 19-year-old man getting fired upon. It's coming from that hut, and there's 30 of your mates behind you. You're just going to wipe out everything. You don't know who the enemy is, but you do know you're being shot at. That's the difference. So it's not like trench warfare where you know that those guys are over there and we're over here. Or it wasn't like the Confederates in the grey and the North Americans in the blue. That's pretty easy to figure out. When they all walk around with the same clothing, and 1 minute a woman will come up to you and blow 7 of you apart,
Yeah.
and they look just like normal civilian. So why did so many civilians get killed? Because no one knew who the enemy was. That's not really spoken of. I've been to Vietnam. You cannot tell the difference between a North Vietnamese and South Vietnamese. You cannot tell the difference. In fact, they're all interrelated. We have no business being in other people's countries that we don't understand. Yeah, we want to be the police of the world. Why? It's just absurd. And it's always young men that pay the price for old men's anger. I think nothing of all the presidents that were involved in Vietnam, and that includes, to an extent, John F. Kennedy, who basically said he would stop and then increased the activity of it. They all did. It was a case of trying to save face. We went and saw some of the foxholes at the North of Vietnamese. They dug thousands of miles of underground tunnels, and I mean thousands of miles. And I looked down one day and I'm thinking, I can't walk in a 2-foot tall tunnel.
We couldn't go in and
I couldn't go in there. I'm too big. But they did that for a reason. They're not big.
I couldn't go there because of claustrophobia.
Big white fellas are big. In Vietnam, they called it the American War. And that's on both sides. South of the Vietnamese call it the American War, and the North Vietnamese called it the American War. Oh, it's terrible. Like, so I've got friends that fought in Vietnam. I was just too young to go, which is good. But I used to take them out on fishing trips, a dozen at a time. And they would just tell stories that, for me, were horrendous. For them, they were just saying what happened. They virtually just shot anything that moved. You can imagine being in a group of 15 guys going out in a sortie just to check out a track and come back, and 2 of your mates get killed. You will shoot anything that moves then. That's the biggest motivation you'll ever get, because when you're brothers in arms, you're not related, and you're not blood, but I can tell you, when you're with a group of men and people die around you, you take it personal. You really do. All the generals of all the wars have no idea what the comradeship of men in arms are and what they go through. They live a shit existence when they're on a 2-week sortie, and then they lose a few mates. Yeah, you're going to shoot anything. I defy anyone to say otherwise. If you see a little tree rustle, you're just going to keep firing your M16 until she runs out of the clip. That's what happened. I mean, like every war, it's eternal. It's usually the people that want to fight it don't die. They don't die. The young men and women of each of the countries that did fight, they die. And of course, they're utilising the words for the troops. You're protecting your country. Well, I'm all for that if it's in my country. I'm not for it if I'm going to some foreign land who I have no argument with, but the governments argue with each other. All the papers are just about released on Vietnam now, all the hidden papers, whatever. Lyndon Johnson at one stage was going to nuke Hanoi. That was on the cards. Really was. That would have been the worst thing they could ever have done. Mind you, it would have ended the war. But can you imagine that every time you have a conflict around the world, all you do is nuke people? So the decision not to do it was a good one. Anyway, enough about war. Let's talk about cornmeal.
Yeah.
Tonight's show is brought to you by Bob. Hello, my name's Bob from Red Mill. I make gluten-free cornmeal.
You could do an advert for the US.
If you love me, donate now.
Damn, you should have put the super chat up so we could buy that.
I'm sure you're all aware of the unravelling, the Undertaker, as they call him, from Canada. He was looking after that little fat fly that came up there. Well, the Undertaker has told everything. How this particular fly likes other flies of the same species, if you know what I mean. Behind the scenes right now, there's a big scrambling going on, trying to think of a way to put a cover story out. And it ain't going to work. The gravy train's disrailed and all the passengers have been killed. And I think a Canada man, you know the man I'm talking about with a big honey pot, I think he screwed down the lid real tight like. And there ain't, all these sugar ants are still coming. They're coming from everywhere, but they're screwed down tight. No more honey money.
That's a ABBA song.
Is it?
Money, money, money.
No, I said no more honey money.
In a rich man's world.
It's going to be interesting.
Oh, that wind's picking up.
But just
Go
like the
in a
wind
minute.
coming in now, karma blows in every now and then. Hi, I'm Bob.
Just got to get the advertisement in there.
Do you reckon we get sponsored by this mob? Tonight's show is brought by Red Mill. Bob's not really a real guy, but he looks like an old guy you can trust, so he stuck his photograph on the front of the paperwork, and people will just buy it because he
No,
looks
it
kind.
probably would be an interesting story to find out. It probably was hundreds of years ago a family business, and they did make their own cornmeal.
Very kind of you, Laura. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of you saw how lots of little sugar ants were gathering around the Undertaker. I call him the Undertaker because he was going to always bury somebody, metaphorically. He used to laugh at what I said to him, but he knew what I meant. He said, "You are the Undertaker. You will bury someone
I don't
shortly."
think Norm likes you.
No, he probably knows because I could work out what he was doing. He was trying to be seen as a good Samaritan, but I think the good Samaritan left. Beatles had a song. I just wish Norm had heard it before he started giving all this money away. You know the one? The Beatles song? You can't buy me love, love. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. You can't buy love. Well, you can buy a hooker. Hello, Lynn.
Ooh, is that Lynn? Quick new one. Hi, Stevens. I love how she says that. I love it.
Tonight's show, Lynn, is brought to you by Bob. Hi, my name's Bob, Lynn. I hear you're a bit of a looker. I sell Red Mill cornmeal, and I'm loaded, Lynn. We could hit the big time together. Don't worry about these seedlings. It's me and you now. This comes from the US of A.
Yep, we just flew over there and flew back. No, we didn't. Found it in a health food store.
Yes.
You realise everybody now is going to call him the Undertaker, and
Well, he knows I gave him that
Yeah.
name because I said you will bury him.
I did hear someone say, and I know it scared shit out of him. You could see the look on his face. Someone said to him, "Do you know Norm put marijuana in your van?"
Well, so when he goes across the border, he'll
Yeah.
get. Yeah.
I did see
Well, I think it'll be interesting going back.
that, and I bet you he stripped his van. Well, maybe people said it so he'd clean his van. But I bet
Tammy,
you,
I think the wife said maybe next week sometime.
yeah. Sundays we don't do a lot. If I get inspired, I'll do it tomorrow. But otherwise, I will when we go to.
You want to do a live broadcast of your cornbread, or do you want to do it like as a film?
Well, we go to the shop every day, so I'm just going to go check out what cookware is in the.
I've got a cast iron skillet.
Yeah, I know.
That will do it.
I know. It's just so
Cornbread will raise about 2 inches, I'm
big.
guessing,
Just
2
yours
and a
is
bit.
so big.
Okay. Well, get whatever you need to get a good cast.
Yeah, it'll be in the next couple of days, Tammy.
Yep, then a couple of days. Now we will film every step she makes.
Every step you take. It's another song.
I got cornbread on my mind. I've got cornbread on my mind. Maybe I should have bought it instead of trying to make it. We'll give it a go. And I'll try anything. If the wife makes it and it turns out absolutely perfect, you'll be the first to know. If it turns out like it's a bit like a football and a bit heavy, I've told people that houses got broken into and they didn't steal anything except the cornbread.
Nah, whether it works or not, you'll see it. I don't care. I don't get embarrassed by my failures.
No. It's always bird food if it fails, isn't it?
Cornbread patties.
Yeah, I can see how that would be made. Sometimes the cold air makes me tired.
Yeah, I think I'll go back up with that. I just can't stop yawning.
Biscuits. We could always make some biscuits.
Biscuits. That's so cute.
That's a good name.
Biscuits.
I reckon you should patent that.
What do you mean? Okay, this is another recipe, is it, Tammy? It's cornbread biscuits, is there?
Yeah, I think that's what he's done his whole life. Pretty sure he'd have played games when there was no internet when he was younger, till the wee hours, eating all day and night, and then wake up about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I mean, come on, is
So
anyone...
nothing's changed.
Is anyone surprised that he didn't get up on someone's panel and start dishing the dirt? Of course we all knew that was going to happen. He had all this planned in his head.
If you'd have watched, and I didn't watch a lot, but I did watch what Norm was saying from time to time. He was throwing little ethical bombs in, like a man should work. You know, all these little things he kept putting in. I'm thinking, yeah, you're going to bury him. That's why I called him the Undertaker. And he has buried him, because the truth of the matter, I think there's some other person called Wendy that donates a little bit of money, but not enough anywhere near what Norm did. But everyone else has stopped giving money. Pennies maybe, a little bit of pennies. But I think the gravy train's been derailed by the Undertaker. And of course the other revelation is that the Undertaker explained that the little fly, the fat one, likes other little fat flies and skinny little flies as well, but not of the same gender.
Yeah, I didn't really watch much of it. But who did the hangout? Ever who got him up?
Some Holly Undead, I think her name was.
Yeah, good on... I mean, give her credit. She handled it well. The little bit that I heard.
But you watch the spin that some of
Did a good job.
the fat man's friends will come up with. There'll be all these spins. Now it's not that important, and keep giving. No, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. Type 69 in the side chat if you agree.
Don't forget to hit the like button.
No, don't type. I'm only kidding. Yeah.
I don't believe he'll stop giving. I
Oh,
don't
I
care
think
what he
he
said.
has.
Nah.
Well, there's that, and also the fact that he's never manned up. I mean, I watched about, 4 or 5 months ago, he said, at least I'd achieved something in my life. I worked for 2 months. Really?
I mean,
Or he'll say, I went to the shop today, and that's an achievement. And things like, I'm really busy tomorrow. When I wake up at 5, I have to eat shit and eat some more, and then, then I've got to talk to you people, and I'm so tired. I've had a big day of work.
I mean, we don't know people's true lives, I suppose. We don't know people's 100% background. I agree with all that. We don't know how hard it is or how easy it was for someone, but the way they were brought up. But whether you have a man, woman influence in your life or not, yes, it is needed. But you do get to a point, and especially on a platform like this, how many years has Elvis been told this, and this? People have tried to help him. People have tried to give him advice that he never had, was growing up, whatever. But he doesn't pay any attention anyway. So,
No, he doesn't listen.
yeah. So it's no excuse because he's been told and shown over the years by many people.
Well, everyone's tried to help him. That's been a genuine effort by a lot of people. All to no avail. So rock bottom is the only thing that will shake his world. And it'll be coming sooner or later. I mean, what a pitiful life. Can't sleep during night time, too frightened of the world, so you sleep all day.
What was that? Lynn say? Lynn said, oh, my eyes gone all water, I can't read.
It's certainly a kingdom that I wouldn't want to reign.
Lynn said he will
car
have
park,
a ton of hangers,
cats, drunks,
hangers on.
police, shop owners. No wonder he can't sleep.
Yeah, I suppose you're right there. Lynn says he'll have a ton of hang-ons. Watching them spill the fact that he has properties to sell. To me, that's deliberate to get people to grovel. Yeah, could be, Lynn.
Well, generosity in its true form, you'll never know. That's what generosity is. It's not a public display
But like
of generosity, which is genuine and never will be.
Like I said, Elvis knows right from wrong. He says all this shit, and sometimes he I don't think he realises what he says.
He just rambles.
He does understand a lot, but he chooses not to. He knows right from wrong and chooses not to follow the correct path, so to say. Whatever.
No, there's no need in his life. There's just greed. It's a constant entitlement. It's a constant all about me. Yeah, I agree. It's very sad. Like I said in that song the Beatles sang, you can't buy me love. Does not work. You can buy attention. If Norm or whoever wanted to have the accompaniment of a woman at night and you just couldn't find one through the normal means, you could buy one. And I'm all for prostitutes, because prostitutes at least give men who can't, talk to women properly, an outlet for their sexual needs, instead of them doing something terrible, like rape and all that. So I'm all for prostitutes, believe me. I think it's the thing that we should never tamper with at all. And that probably would go for women as well as men, but predominantly men. Yeah, that's the first thing, Laura. You can't look at yourself and think, yeah, you're all right. We've all got little edges chipped off us, and if you can acknowledge them to yourself, that you're not perfect and you never will be, but you're okay. And you can wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and think, yeah, you're all
Hey,
right.
what? I'm perfect.
Well, obviously
Top
she's
of the
perfect.
top. Somebody's got to do it.
Modest as well. But when you, like Laura said, when you can accept that,
Yeah.
then you can move forward. Well, my statement has always been, I bought a car when I was young and I painted it. It was an old Ford Anglia, 1962 Anglia. And that's a really old car, 4-cylinder. And I painted on the bonnet because I was young. I painted the words, I may not be perfect, but parts of me are excellent. And that's a great mantra when you think about it. We're not perfect, but parts of you are probably great.
Thanks, Lee.
But 10% battery warning. That's all right, we're going soon anyway.
Yeah.
We've all got, things that we wish we hadn't done, things we shouldn't have said.
Yeah, but you learn from that. Well, hopefully you learn from that. Hopefully you don't make the same mistake.
Yeah.
Or you might make the same mistake, but in a different way.
Well, to learn by your mistakes is not to repeat them.
We are all students and we are all teachers. You've just got to find what it is that you need to learn or want to learn, and then you've got to find what you can teach and pass on.
It's very deep.
It
Most
was-
of the people
it
in
was,
the audience
wasn't
are
it?
sitting there in the lotus position now.
That was really deep, wasn't it?
You could write all fancy stuff if you wanted to, but I could make simple commandments like, do not be an asshole unto others. The 10 commandments are pretty good life instructions, even if you're not religious. Forget the religious or faith, and just look at the 10 commandments. They're pretty good. They will see you through life on a pretty good stead if you followed them.
I mean, we found the light. We found cornbread. Cornmeal, I mean.
We started a new religious sect.
Oh, yes, Bob's
This is Sharma Bob
Red Mill.
from Red Mill. Have faith that the wife will cook a good cornbread. But my battery's going low, and I'm sure Awesome will be waking up shortly. So Awesome, if you do get to see this video, I'll try and put that picture on the front of it, because we acquired some today.
You're buffering.
Yeah, I think it's time to maybe to close it down. Good people, have a great day where you are. It's the beginning of Saturday, and I can tell you that it does end, because we're in the future. So you've got, rest assured, you're still going to be there tomorrow.
Yep.
Unless you eat cornbread, that's got stuff in it. Anyway, people, have a good day, and we'll catch up with you later. Bye-bye. Do you want to say goodbye?
Night. Well, good night for us.